seeing them go from the start, confidence growing and their techniques improving. We've never ever taken somewhere else because he is just perfect. I have two girls at AFAC and we've been coming since it started at the beginning of 2019. They feel safe and I think they feel encouraged as well.
And my teachers, and they always encourage me when I need encouraging, and they make it really fun for me and the rest of my class. I feel very proud and happy and excited to meet my new teacher.
That finds motor planning and things like that difficult. You know, he tends to get that same teacher, so they definitely know what works for Noah, what to kind of keep going with, how we can kind of achieve the next thing. So it's really quite consistent and valuable. It's really good, nice quality time spent with the vendors, and it's a great centre for families as well. She may have got a lot older, but never miss out on the green jelly after the swimming lesson, so that's always a given. I wouldn't be driving 25 minutes past two swim schools to come if I didn't enjoy it. The kids just enjoy too much here and love all the teachers, so why moving somewhere else? Good evening, everyone.
Before we start the meeting, I would like to acknowledge that we gather on the lands of the Whadjuk Noongar people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I declare the meeting open at 7:01 and record that we have most councillors present, but we do have an apology from Councillor Camdale. And thank you to the executive directors who are here, and our CEO for supporting us tonight. We'll move on then to advice of previous public questions taken on notice. There aren't any. Public question times. We've got 15 minutes for public questions. If there are any public questions, would you step forward to the microphone, give your name and just your suburb if you'd like to ask a question. So I'll open public question time. Are there any questions from members of the public? Yes?
Yeah, thanks for any benefit. Stuart Gostray from representing the Armidale District Bowling Club. Armidale. Yeah, it was just with regards to an email that was sent to all the councillors, and I'd like to thank them for their time to actually have gone through and read that for us. We're just hoping to see if the council had made a decision or whether that was something that will come up later in the meeting with regards to further consultation with the club moving forward for a shared facility.
Yeah, yes. Well, as you know, it's on. I responded to your email and said that it's on tonight's agenda. Councillors have obviously read your email and acknowledged your concerns. I can't tell you how they are going to discuss or vote on that item tonight, so it'll all be revealed shortly. Thank you. Are there any further questions from members of the public? Yes?
Yeah, Cam Wilson, Chair of the Armidale District Bowling Club. I suppose just a question to councillors that whether they were aware that not all of the feedback had been presented to them in regards to our dealings with the Armidale Council. I think in the email it sort of presented a lot of the points that we'd raised hadn't actually been put through in that report that the committee was presented with. So I'm just hoping that they've taken the time to have a look at them and realise that there is probably a little bit more feedback and discussion that needs to take place.
Thank you. I'm sure that was a comment. Councillors are aware. Yes, thank you for your email. It's not unusual, I would say it's not unusual that not every point of communication or every part that the clubs want. So there would be obviously communication and responses given from both the tennis club and the bowls club that wouldn't necessarily get into the report. That's not unusual. That's the main points. But as I said, we will be dealing with that a little bit later. Thank you. If there's no further questions, I will close public question time and move on to applications of a leave of absence. We don't have any at this stage. Do we have any written? Anything there? No. Any petitions for presentation tonight? No petitions. Thank you. Confirmation of minutes. Could I ask that someone move that the minutes attached to this agenda represent a true and accurate record of the last council meeting? Councillor Sargison, thank you, has moved. Is there anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you. That's carried. Announcements by the person presiding without discussion. Councillors, you have that paperwork on your table. I did want to highlight just one piece. I would just like to thank staff who were involved in writing the submission with regard to the extension of mining activities in the Perth Hills around Canning Dam. I believe that they put in a tremendous effort to get that done in a very short time frame, and thanks to the CEO as well for supporting that submission. I was having a read of it last night. It's incredibly detailed and a lot of work has gone into it, so thank you. I'd like to pass on my thanks and thanks of the council to those staff, and if you could pass that on, CEO, it'd be much appreciated. What else is on here? I think we might leave it at that, because I think we do have a few discussions to be had tonight. So, councillors, will move on to the reports. I know questions by members, of which due notice have been given without discussions first. I don't have any of those. So now we move to reports. Development Services Committee meeting held on the 18th of August. Chair, are you prepared to move receipt of those minutes?
Yes, I'd like to move receipt of the minutes, subject to any corrections, of which I have none.
Thank you. Chair has moved receipt of those minutes with no corrections. Does anyone else have any corrections? If not, I'll ask if anyone is opposed. If no one's opposed, thank you, that's carried. Moving to the agenda itself, page 8, 1.1, Anstey Keene Development Contribution Plan Number 4, Infrastructure Cost Schedule Review 2025.
Thank you.
We have Councillor...
Peter.
Sorry, I'm still reading mine. Sorry, and the recommendation comes on page 14, and we have a councillor who is standing, so we will ask Councillor Peter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I am not supporting the motion on the table now. I'm not moving an amendment, but I am voting against the current motion because the advertised rate for the base rate contribution is nearly $86,000 per hectare, is reduced to another $16,000. The report saying the basic reason for the reduction is calculation of the interest rate, and also the expecting the administrative cost will be reduced. But my point is, at the current market, the interest rate is going down, and also the employee cost is going up. So I am not in a position to accept that argument. So I am voting against the current recommendation on the table.
Thank you. So Councillor Peter has opposed the recommendation. Chair, are you willing to move the recommendation?
Yes, I'm happy to move it.
Would you like to speak to the recommendation?
No, I can only say that I think the officers have put a lot of work into it, as they always do, and we are highly reviewed by the developers. I think they give us a good going over so that we make sure everything is in order when we get to this point.
Thank you, Councillor Dominga. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Stoneman. Would you like to speak?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Peter? Okay. I'll ask if anyone else would like to speak for or against. Councillor Willinga, would you like to wrap up? Thank you. I'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Thank you. All those against? Thank you. The motion is 1. Page 15, 1.2, Omnibus Local Planning Policy Review 2025. The recommendation coming on page 22. Move on to page 23 with the draft, 1.3, draft Jandakot Treeby District Structure Plan, with the recommendation coming on page 31. Page 32, 2.1 Armidale Bowls and Tennis Club Shared Facility Concept Plans. Councillor Hetherington, I saw you first.
Thank you, Matt. I just need to declare a conflict, if I may. In this item, as my employer, the Farthing Project is specifically mentioned in this report. We hold activities at the Armidale Bowling Club with funding provided by the Armidale Rotary Club. And as a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected, but I declare that this this will not influence my considerations of this matter, and I will consider it on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you. Councillor Hetherington has declared an impartiality interest. Councillor Smith.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I will need to declare impartiality interest, as I am a social member and a volunteer at the Armidale District Bowling Club, and as there may be a perception that this impartiality on the matter, I will reflect, but declare my that I will vote accordingly and my rights. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Anybody else?
And yeah, I also like to make just a recommendation to this item.
Okay. I'm just going to so the recommendation comes on page 39. Councillor Smith, you're moving a change to the recommendation.
Yes,
Do we have
please.
that on the screen? Thank you.
So yeah, the recommendation that's on the screen there, that Council defer the consideration of the concept plan for the Armidale Bowls and Tennis Club shared facility pending our Councillors' workshop.
Thank you. Do we have anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you, that's carried.
Thank you.
Move on to page 40. So just for members of the public, we'll have a workshop on it and get back to you. Thank you. Page 40, 2.2, City of Armidale Crest at the Armidale District Hall. We have the recommendation coming on page 49. Page 50, 2.3, Business Development, Kelmscott, referral item, with the recommendation coming on page 51. Is the Chair prepared to move all those items which have not already been dealt with?
So moved.
Thank you. Dr. Wallinga has moved all those items which have not already been dealt with. Is there anyone opposed? No one's opposed. Thank you. That's carried. That takes us through to the Corporate Services Committee meeting held on the 19th of August. Is the Chair prepared to move receipt of those minutes?
Yes, I would like to move receipt of the minutes of our Corporate Services Committee meeting held Tuesday 19th of August, subject to any corrections, of which I have none.
Thank you very much. The Chair has moved receipt of those minutes without corrections. Is there anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you, that's carried. Moving to the...
Sorry, there is some correction.
A correction?
Yeah, on page 76.
Yeah.
On the recommendation, I think it's moved by Councillor Morrissey, seconded by Councillor Choi, and opposed by Councillor Peter, not Road.
Okay. Chair, are you happy with that sequence of events?
It's actually my recollection as well, so apologies.
Thank you. If we could have that changed. Yep, thank you. Okay, with that change, we will go into the report itself. Page 58, 1.1, list of accounts paid June 2025. The recommendation coming on page 60. Page 61, 1.2, statement of financial activity, June 2025. The recommendation coming on page 66. We do need an absolute majority for this one. Chair, are you prepared to move this item?
Yes, I would like to move that item, please.
Thank you. Chair has moved this item. Is there anyone opposed? No one opposed. Thank you. That's carried. And an absolute majority has been achieved. Page 67, 2.1, revocation of redundant human resources policies. The recommendation coming on page 69. Page 70, 2.2, 2025 WALGA Local Government Convention and Registration of Voting Delegates for the annual general meeting, September 2025. And the recommendation is on page 72. Page 73, 2.3, elected members entitlements policy, with the recommendation coming on page 76. Councillor Silva.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to propose alternative recommendation for this item, that Council recommit the item to SOHAG and the Corporate Services Committee to enable councillors to fully understand the policy mechanism and implications.
Thank you very much, and that's on the screen, councillors. Is there anyone opposed? Okay, if we can just, Councillor Silva, could you put your...
Sorry.
Thank you.
This question, Madam Chair. SOHAG have already discussed this matter before, is it? That is my memory. Yeah, in that case I will oppose it and move I would like to move an amendment, not for the SOHAG, recommit to the Corporate Service Committee. So, SOHAG only have 5 members, so I would like to move an amendment to make a Corporate Service Committee. Remove the SOHAG.
Thank you, Councillor Peter. Hang on a sec. Could I have, given that there's an alternate motion on the floor, just before we get that one done, I'd like someone to second the motion that's been put, please. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Busby. Councillor Silva, would you like to speak? I'm just going to do this in the right order so I don't get confused. Councillor Silva?
Fair enough. Yes, I just wanted to I'll quickly just give you my intent on that, is that I just don't feel like enough time was spent on it. We've had quite a few things on our table at the moment for the last few weeks, and I just wanted to go through it further, and I also thought that making a decision on this item might also place undue pressure on those councillors who are seeking re-election. That was if Councillor Peter was potentially moving a lower allowance, so please forgive me for that. But my point is, with the election, I believe it would be a little bit unfair for incoming councillors, potentially new ones, that we are making this decision before they come on board and are able to go through the policy and vote on it, as it will affect them for many coming years. So I just wanted to recommit the item because I just believe it's important enough to warrant more additional time and consideration rather than being rushed through before the forthcoming election in the caretaker period. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Silva. Councillor Busby, as a seconder, would you like to speak?
Only on the fact, Madam Mayor, that looking at some of the information that's been brought to our attention in other councils, that wasn't available to SOHAG, I think, to the same degree. So I think that's a good starting point for us. So to go back there makes sense, and then it goes to corporate services from there. So, I think that's the right process, and I'm happy to support that.
Thank you, Councillor Busby. Councillor Peter, would you like to speak?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move an amendment to remove the SOHAG from the current recommendation on the table. The reason is we discussed this matter in the SOHAG, and my understanding there was no a proper outcome was come out. There's a different opinion on the SOHAG. So, and there's only 5 members in the SOHAG. So, we going back to SOHAG, then going to corporate service. It is, I believe it's time consuming and waste of time and money. So, it's, my intention is to take a decision now, but as an alternate recommendation, I'm happy to discuss with the Corporate Service Committee again, not for all the committee. So I would like to move an amendment to remove SOHAG and recommit the item to the Corporate Service Committee to enable councillors fully understand the policy mechanism. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Sorry, who's got their mics on? So you're flagging if this motion doesn't go ahead, you are moving an alternate recommendation.
No, it's an amendment. Just removing an item.
Is that an amendment? Okay, I'll allow it as an amendment. So we'll deal with the amendment first then. So, Councillor Peter, Councillor Peter has moved an amendment to the recommendation. Do we have anyone opposed to that recommendation? Councillor Relinga is opposed. Do we have a seconder for the amendment? Councillor Virk. Councillor Peter has already spoken. Councillor Virk, would you like to speak to the amendment?
Thanks, Chair, I'm good.
Councillor Relinga, would you like to speak against the amendment?
Yes, please. I actually wanted to foreshadow a change if it was... I was just going to suggest another option which hasn't been floated yet. I would have thought a councillor briefing and a Q&A time would have been appropriate instead of the SOHAG for all the councillors that are not on SOHAG to ask their questions of the officers, because I felt at the meeting that that's what the problem was. There was a lot of people asking a lot of questions. They didn't understand what was happening, and so just a Q&A briefing for those who were interested. I thought that would be more useful than possibly going back to SOHAG, and so I would have suggested, that's why I'm opposed to just removing the SOHAG. I would have foreshadowed that a briefing and then back to corporate services would be more appropriate.
Thank you, Councillor Silva. Councillor Relinga. Councillor Peter, you got a question? Would anyone like to speak for the amendment? Anyone against the amendment?
Yes.
Councillor Stoneham?
As one of the members of SOHAG who was at the meeting at the time we discussed this, we had a very, not a full complement of SOHAG members at that meeting. In fact, it was very scant. There were only 3 of us, and this item came at the very last minute, as often SOHAG policies do. So the intent was that when it went to corporate services, we would have some more information. But I believe we need more information again. Any councillor is welcome to attend a SOHAG meeting as an observer and can be there to ask questions. So I would encourage everyone to support this recommendation as it stands, and when the policy comes back to SOHAG, that if you have questions or concerns, then you can attend that meeting, and we can, rather than tabling as a briefing, we can have that as part of a SOHAG meeting, because any one of us are able to attend that. So I am supporting the recommendation as written.
Thank you, Councillor Stoneham. Anyone to speak for the amendment? If not, anyone for the amendment? No. I just advanced. Anyone against? Sorry, Councillor Busby.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm going to make the same point that I did in supporting the first recommendation, is that SOHAG is the place this normally goes to, and that's where it starts. And at the time of the last SOHAG meeting, all the information wasn't there. I believe that everybody's been caught with that, including our officers. This was something that's brand new. We're still trying. I remember reading the agenda and reading all the information about it. There were so many questions that just no one really knew the answers for. And as this has gone along a little bit, more information is now coming forward, and I do believe SOHAG is the best place for it to start with. That's where it was in the first place, and that's where it should go back to, so that next time it comes to council and committee, or committee and council, those questions are fully answered, and we have a lot more detail and information of what other local governments are doing, and what it really does mean for each councillor that sits on this table. And also, just in an answer to one of Councillor Peter's arguments, it doesn't cost us anything, because we've already got SOHAG happening. So whether a report's done for one or done for another, we're getting the report. So there's no cost to council for that. So I really do, I'm against that. I'm for the original motion that let's go to SOHAG, let's do it, get it done properly, and then next time it comes through the corporate services and then to us, I think we'll have a lot more information and our eyes will be even more open. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Busby. I take it that there's no one else to... Councillor Silva? For the motion? Sorry, motion, the amendment. Against the motion?
I obviously should talk against it as it's an amendment to mine, but my intent on naming SOHAG was that we could speak about this freely, probably behind closed doors, and get information just so we're more informed when we go into a public meeting, that we are speaking with the knowledge of what the changes are going to be. The whole amendment that came through from SAT is actually very confusing, and I just felt like SOHAG was more of a forum where any councillor could speak freely and say, how's this going to affect us in specific matters that perhaps the public don't care to hear. Thank you.
Anyone else to speak on the matter? If not, I'll ask Councillor Peter to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My first comment, Councillor Busby's point is there is no cost, but there is a cost. If you need to discuss something in the SOHAG committee, the officers need to prepare a report. That will cost the city. That's first point. And the second point I need to make, Madam Chair, everybody talking about we in the SOHAG we can discuss freely. That can be done in the Corporate Service Committee. We can suspend the standing order and we can discuss freely. So I think we need to practice what is our standing order. So it is, now we go into SOHAG, we discuss, and coming to the Corporate Service Committee, we can do the same thing in the Corporate Service Committee. That is a big, we have 7 members, and anybody can come into the committee, and we can suspend the standing orders and we can discuss freely. So there is no point of we need to go to SOHAG because we already discussed. And the same thing we can do with the Corporate Service Committee. We can do it. So I don't think there is a need for a SOHAG. I think it's very clear we can suspend standing order. I think everybody is well aware of that. So then we can discuss, then we can reduce the time frame and we can take a decision. And it is not a big matter, Madam Chair. It is just simple discussion about how much is going to take our allowance. This is not talking about making an atomic bomb. It's a simple thing. We need to take how much is allowance we need to take. That will be more transparent and everybody must know. We don't need to go to the closed door and discuss. It's open to everyone. So I think the Corporate Service Committee is the best option, and all the councillors can come in and discuss, and they can ask me questions they want, and we can take a final decision. So I request all the councillors support my amendment for the current recommendation on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peter. I will put it to the vote. All those in favour of Councillor Peter's amendment? All those against? The amendment is lost. We'll return now to the original motion, and we have on the screen.
Would you like me to state it again, or just say that I'm moving an alternative recommendation?
It's been moved.
Okay.
Where is it? Councillor Silva, you've moved it. You already spoke. Councillor Busby, would you like to speak as a seconder?
It's already moved, Madam Chair.
No one's opposed? So there's no one opposed now? Now that you've done your bit? Okay, you're not going to oppose again? Okay. Okay, I'll ask if anyone's opposed then. None opposed? Thank you, that's carried. Right. It's page 77, 3.1, Trails Master Plan. Page 85 contains the recommendation. Councillor Stone.
I have an alternate recommendation that I'd like to put forward, please, if we could bring it up on the screen, because I can't remember it all. So I would like to go to a motion where we actually endorse the Trails Master Plan subject to a number of amendments. So the recommendation on the table right now is to endorse the proposed City of Armidale Master Plan 2025-2028 as a strategic guide for further investment into the Trails network enhancement and promotion subject to the following amendments. Do I need to read it all out, or...?
No, I don't think so. We can read. Thank you.
Do I need to speak to it?
I'll just ask if anyone's opposed first. Is anyone opposed? I'll give you a minute to read it, I suppose. Do we have anyone opposed at this stage? No one's leaping up, so would you like to speak to it anyway, given it's a change to the recommendation that was made at the committee?
Yes, I would. Look, this is a substantial change. However, following committee, we had a large discussion there. Nearly all councillors were available, either online or in the room, apart from Councillor Canada, who also isn't here this evening. And I think everybody was in agreement with the points raised at the meeting. One thing I was remiss in mentioning at the time was that I had intended to say thank you to the officers, particularly Louis and Tabitha, for all the work they've put into particularly making sure that things about sustainability, biodiversity, conservation and the environment were incorporated into the strategic plan, and I didn't make those comments at the time, and I would like to be able to make those comments now, because they've worked so hard. Also, I think that on reflection, the amendments necessary are not that onerous, and this means that the officers, instead of having to go through another report coming back to council and wasting time and money, that they can now go straight back to the consultants and get it amended, done, and it is finalised. It doesn't need to come back to us. So thank you all very much for your support. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Do you have a question? Or?
A question, Madam Chair. Sure. Could you help with explain why removing the Wonkong? I think you made some comment about the environmental issue on removing the Wonkong Tile Centre. Have any idea about that? The recommendation point B, remove Wonkong Tile Centres and associated development plans. I did get some information from the Development Service Director, if possible, because that, I think that was on the report. They included that report. If you remove, that will affect our project, total project or not.
Chair, I'm not sure quite what you're asking for. What the intent of this recommendation is that we concentrate on Settlers Common as the head of the trail, and the focus for a trail centre, not Wonkong.
Yeah, so my question, because on the officer's report, the Wonkong Trail was also included, that is my memory. But if you, as per the recommendation, we try to remove that item, my question, that will affect the total project, or it is okay to remove it?
Madam Mayor, just a point of order. The motion was moved. There was no one opposed. It was carried, and you just gave Councillor Stone an opportunity to speak into it, which is unusual. So opening for discussion now is pointless because it has been moved and finished.
Thank you, Councillor Busby. I did allow Councillor Stoneman to speak to the matter, which is my prerogative as chair, and she has moved and explained the reasons and thanked staff, which I think is important to thank the staff for a major piece of work. We do have a question now, which I'm willing to take, but I'm not really understanding the question. So if I might just hand over to the CEO and see if we can get you an answer. Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Peter, there are a set of recommendations, obviously within the Trails Master Plan. It is open to Council to adopt parts of that plan and to not adopt others. So in this case, there is still a head of trail or trail centre being identified, removing, I guess, the focus on Wonkong and attributing that to Armidale Settlers Common. And it is also associated development plans from Wollongong. So this is a clear message from council should this be carried this evening, that there won't be, as part of the 2025 to 2028 Trails Master Plan, a priority given to Wollongong Trail Centre or trail development in that area, and an indication that Armidale Settlers Common would take that role with a focus on Banyala and also the link trails and Wollongong River. Councillor Peter, does that clear everything up?
It's clear, so I have a question on the motion.
Okay, Councillor, do we have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Willinga. Councillor Stoneman, you've spoken. Councillor Peter, would you like to speak? No, sorry, Councillor Willinga.
Thank you. As discussed at committee, we were talking about how a trail centre adjacent to our CBD would be more useful for economic development and tourism and accessibility. This is mentioned in the plan, how accessibility of trails is important. And so we have a new train line and a new train station coming, and Armidale Settlers Common is not that far from Armidale train station. In addition, the Banyala Trail network, which is already being used for bikes, would also be very accessible if I'm envisaging maybe children could take the train and the bike rather than being dependent on driving out to the further out trail centres. I think we could get quite a bit of tourism and leverage into the Kelmscott centre as well with the Banyala Trail network. So the idea was that the two centres close to town would hopefully receive that economic boost, and that makes those trails more accessible. And Armidale Settlers Common has a lot to offer as the head of trails. We already have a community group there that is trying to develop digital botanical tours. There's already an All Abilities Trail in Armidale Settlers Common, a paved trail with a low gradient. So for a number of reasons, I think it's a good idea to focus on the trail areas near our towns, and then the Wollongong River is an important one that the city's been working on for quite some time, and I believe it's already got the funding through, I can't recall, the environment team had organised something, and so that's, and then the linking. So I think those are the main priorities for good reason, for our community and for our economic development and for our tourism.
Thank you, Councillor Willinga. Councillor Peter, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I am happy to do all the points except the point B, removing the Wollongong Trail Centre. My memory is that is the part of the project, and if you remove that trail, then it will be moved out from the last 3 financial year. I think I'm not comfortable, and I need more time to, because my reading was that is also a part of the trial, also obviously a recommendation. So we are removing now, so I am not comfortable to remove that item from the last 3 years, the coming 3 years plan. So that is the only reason I am voting against. No, I'm very 100% support for all the points, and also I agree with Councillor Linda. It will help to promote city centre and Kelmscott, and I am happy to support, but I think I need to have that point, that Wollongong Trail Centre also need to be included. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peter. Is there anyone to speak for the motion? Anyone to speak against? I might just wrap up by, if there's no one else to speak, by saying that I felt like this is a good, it's a good recommendation for Armidale. I think that the Wollongong Trail up to the Wollongong Gorge whilst it's already there, if Armidale decides to try and put a trail centre and associated development, a lot of that is in the city of, in the town of, the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale. So, are we sharing our economic development and our money and our visitation, or are we trying to focus our visitation on areas that are close and going to stimulate our town centres? So for me, that was removing the Wollongong Trail made sense. So at this stage, I'm supporting this recommendation. It makes sense to promote visitation to our town centres and to not share. It sounds a bit mean, doesn't it? I think that the Wollongong trail into the hills and that gorge doesn't need us to be pursuing it at this stage. Serpentine Jarrahdale and the state government are pursuing development there. We should be developing and concentrating on trails that are more within our area, and economic development will come back to Armidale Town Centre, Kelmscott Town Centre, and obviously with the Wollongong River Trail, then obviously areas within the city of Armidale, perhaps Forestdale Town Centre, economic development would be boosted by that trail. So I think there's enough in there for Armidale to be pushing without pushing, promoting a trail that's in the Serpentine Jarrahdale. So with that, I will ask Councillor Stoner, would you like to wrap up?
Yes, so I think I made most of my points the other night. I don't intend to go through them again, but I quite happily can, but I sent you all an email today, so I'm not going to waste time doing that. Just to reiterate, this strategic plan is for 2025 to 2028. So we're asking for the initial 3-year focus to be on Banyala, Armidale Settlers Common, and the Wollongong River Trail Network, as the Mayor has said, because then that's focusing our efforts, our intention and our funding on areas that will bring economic growth and activity to those regions. So the western suburbs, northern suburbs and southern suburbs of the central city of Armidale will benefit, rather than focusing what would be a great degree of attention into the Wollongong area, which is right on the very borders of Serpentine Jarrahdale, with no urban or infrastructure around it that would then benefit from that. Coffee shops and the like, nowhere near a train line, nowhere near, other public transport routes. So that is why I have written this recommendation as it is, and I once again thank everybody for their support, and I hope that it will just pass unanimously. No, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stoneman. We live in hope. With that, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour of the recommendation? All those against? Oh, look at that. Thank you very much, everybody. That motion has passed. We move to page 86, 3.2, rates exemption application for charitable purposes, residential and crisis accommodation. There is a confidential attachment with the report in it. Does anyone need to refer to that confidential report? If not, we'll move forward. The recommendation comes on 87. Page 88, 3.3, PPS 2 of 2025, provision of traffic management services panel. And there is a confidential there's a confidential attachment that needs to be referred to, so I will move that one to the confidential part of the agenda. Is the Chair prepared to move all those items which have not already been dealt with?
So moved.
Thank you, Chair. Chair has moved all the items that haven't already been discussed. Is there anyone opposed? If no one's opposed, thank you, that's carried. We'll go now to the to the Executive Officer's Report of the 25th of August 2025. Could I ask that somebody move receipt of that? Councillor Peter, thank you. Councillor Peter has moved receipt. Is there anyone opposed? No one's opposed. Thank you, that's carried. There's one item in that report, the 1.1 Councillors Information Bulletin issue number 13, 2025, with the recommendation on the bottom of page 93. Could I have a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Peter, thank you. Is there anyone opposed? No, thank you, that's carried. And we don't need an absolute majority. So we will move back to the front of the agenda. And we have motions of which previous notice have been given. There isn't any. Urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. There isn't any. Matters for referral to standing committees. Are there any matters for referral to standing committees tonight? If not, we'll move to matters requiring confidential consideration, and I will ask that someone moves us behind closed doors. Councillor Peter has requested that we go behind closed doors. Could I ask members of the public to leave the chamber, please? We're going to have a look at this confidential item. We will open back up to the public at the end. I'm not sure quite how long it will take, but we will reopen the doors at the end. Thank you. And councillors, if we just wait until we cease live streaming to begin discussion. Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome back. Live streaming has commenced again, and I'll just let members of the public know that the recommendation in the confidential attachment of the agenda for 3.3 PPS 2 of 2025, provision of traffic management services panel, was passed. That brings us, I believe, to closure of the meeting tonight. Yes, it does. So I will close the meeting at 7:50 p.m. and thank everyone for their attendance tonight. Thank you very much.